Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Lawson. We are testing out this new Screencast-O-Matic to see how we're doing here. We are going to look at our next memoir. It is Memoir Session 8. And this memoir session is about the inspiration to draft your very first paper. I know some of you out there have already started writing. Maybe some of you already just have some small moments listed, but we are all going to come together now and start to figure out how we want to draft that very first memoir piece of writing. So of course you have to have an inspiration for this. Your first draft is due on Wednesday. Okay, that is next Wednesday. That's when it's due. You have Thursday, Friday, you'll have all weekend. You even have Monday off, so you could probably do a pretty good job and get a good idea of how your memoir writing is going to look. Write this first draft on paper outside of your writing notebook. Make sure it's just on loose leaf paper, but don't lose it. Okay. You can also do it on Google Drive, or you could write it on Microsoft Word at home and then share it with me and share it with yourself, so that way you don't lose it. Remember that writing well, it requires a lot of talent and knowledge and skill, but yes, it also requires you to have some inspiration. Go to my next one. All right, so let's look at my next slide here. Okay, here we go. I want to tell you about a great writer, and he's also a writing teacher. His name is Bill Zinsser, and I'm going to read just a little bit about him. He's written a lot of books on writing well, and at the very end of his recent book called Writing About Your Life, A Journey into the Past, he had a chapter on playing the piano. I don't know how many of you play the piano out there, but I used to play the piano, and it can be pretty hard. In this chapter, a musician named Mitchell gives Bill this advice. If you feel a certain emotion while you're playing the piano, your listeners will feel it too. Mitchell elaborated by telling about a time when he was expected to provide the music for a wedding, and he was given a piano that played like a factory reject. I learned it does no good to complain. You think, oh, this darn piano, and you get mad at it, and when you get angry, you play angry, and you can't do project who you really are because you've been transformed into this angry person. Well, about this, Bill Zinsser, he said, much of what Mr. Mitchell taught me about playing the piano has nothing to do with music. It has to do with conduct and character. And all of this can relate to your writing. So, ask yourself this question: how can I inspire myself to do my very best work? Well, here's some hints to help you out. The first thing that you could do is just reread wonderful writing. In your Google Drive accounts, I have put some of this writing. 11, Quietly Struggling. You could also think about those other pieces of writing we looked at, like the cowboy story with the little boy that remembered that he wanted to be called John, and he said he remembers, and listed his small moments. You also can remember that sister story about the sister and her and Nenny, and how they were walking down the street one day and saw that house, and she said, that house looks like Mexico, and her sister thought the same thing. So remember those stories. Those are really good pieces of writing, and your writing could look just like that. A second thing that you can do is reread parts of your stories that you love, your actual stories. It doesn't have to be stories from this memoir piece. It could be stories that you wrote way back in September, but reread those favorite little pieces of those stories that you wrote as writers. That'll inspire you. The third thing that you need to do is map out a plan. And I mean actually draw out a diagram of how you are going to structure your writing. We talked about in class, it's almost like Lego pieces and piecing them together. You have those 5 different ideas that you could do. You could do a small moment story, tie it into an idea. You could do a poem going into an idea. You could list your small moments. Don't forget that you could also make a claim about something that is very important to you. So map out that plan. Draw it out. I'm going to do, this paragraph is going to be an idea. Then the next paragraph is going to be my small moment story number 1. Okay, map it out. Once you have done all of those steps, it's time for you to start writing. Don't forget to look at the memoir checklist that you got in class, okay, to make sure that you're getting everything you need into your memoir so you get the best grade possible, okay, and also the best writing possible. But really just start looking at all of these different steps, and once you've done that, it's time for you to start writing. All right, writers. Your memoir writing is due on Wednesday. This is just a first draft, so don't get stressed out about it. I'm here to help you. Don't forget to share items with me on Google Drive if you would like for me to look at it. And best luck with your writing.